See, most people when they say those ages and like, lost focus, they're out, getting drunk every weekend. And I'm like, doesn't seem like Andrew. And then you say, yeah, I just had too many businesses at that
Yeah,
time.
different
That's your
kind of
version
focus.
of distraction.
And I had fun too, don't get me wrong. But yeah. I mean, yeah, in the business world, I was, and I learned so much. There's three stages. I heard this the other day. I loved it. There's three stages also in success. The first stage is proving everybody wrong. That's stage one, right? You just want to prove everybody wrong. We all have our story, right? We all have our why. And usually there's some, a sad story in your past. Everybody has one, right? And then it goes to the ego stage. The ego stage is I want everybody to know I'm crushing it, right? And a lot of people stay in that stage too long. And I'm actually still kind of in it. I'm kind of on the tail end. I'm really consciously trying to like not be too egotistic, whatever the word is. It's hard though. It's a hard stage to get out of. Most people don't. And then the third stage and the most productive stage is building leaders, building others to be successful, but within your organization. It's creating other leaders and giving them the light. And so I'm coming out of stage two and working my way into stage three. And not many people make that transition, but it's hard, right? I mean, when up raising money at a young age, I had to enter every circle talking about what I've done because I still have a baby face. So I literally had to tell everybody what I did because if I didn't, nobody would even know I did anything and I would just be some kid. Well,
Is
I
this
got
an
in that.
intern? Who's this Andrew guy?
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I had to like verbally tell people what I've done. And
Hmm.
that became a habit. And obviously it worked for its purpose, but um, yeah. So
For
I don't
you
know.
right
I didn't
now,
mean to steal the conversation. I just thought that was a
no.
good topic.
No, I love to even dive in further. What's been the hardest transition going from that ego stage to, that next level of building leaders?
I would say I spent a lot of years alone, and now we have a 60-person plus team. So I to we, changing that verbiage. Um, and then the other thing is, I really enjoy business. Like this is my passion. I want to do this till I die because I love it. And so if I could pick any conversation at any time of day with anybody I'm with, it would be business and money. And I don't talk about money braggadocious, whatever that word is. Again, I didn't do good in school, but I talk about it because I love it. I love business, and dollars just so happen to come with it for the story. And so it's really hard for me to make sure I read the room. You know, maybe a little autism in me. I'm not sure, but I just I just say stuff. I don't notice. So I'd say those are the two things.
What about, as you obviously have had a lot of success, what's been the biggest L you've taken? Because I feel like people always hear the highlight reels,
Yeah,
Instagram. All they see is, oh my gosh, look at all the great deals I'm doing. But there's a bunch of L's usually in between. Call them
yeah.
failures. I like to call them learning lessons. So, what's the biggest learning lesson that you've had?
Thanks for asking. That's a really good question. So in 2017, there's a reason I stopped my okay at everything stage. There was a traumatic experience in 2015, 16. We started making a position in a helicopter company. It was undervalued, selling below book. We put $1 million in. To give you a reference, that was about 5 to 10% of our company at the time. And we turned that million into 2 million in like 8 months, 9 months, and sold. Right? Story sounds good so far. Terms. So the stock we bought in at like $12, we sold that all at 20. Great. I checked back, same company, the stock went down to like $13 again. So I put $1 million in. Went back to like went down to 10, put another million in. Went down to 8, put another million in. Well, anyways, bad management got in there. I didn't own enough anywhere to have control of the company, so I had no control over management. And it doesn't matter. You have to read the numbers and read the people. So just because my numbers were right, which they were, I did not study the people, so I was wrong. Anyways, we lost it all. So we lost 15% of our portfolio in 2017, and that really sucked. That was a gut wrench.
What was the biggest learning lesson and like way to bounce back from that? Because obviously people are looking at you like, oh, I thought this guy had the Midas touch, and then you're like, well, I do numbers wise, but I messed up somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, it was really tough. I have a lot of great shareholders, and majority of them have been with me for a long time. There was some shareholders that were questioning again my ability. Honestly, I was questioning my ability. I did it for so long, and honestly, what I was telling myself in my weak state was maybe I was just lucky. Maybe I'm not actually that good at this. Maybe it was all just luck this whole time, and blah blah blah. Right, that pity stage. And I let myself, be sad for a while and feel bad for myself, blah blah. But after a couple of days, I read this book. I think it was in Charlie's Almanac, Charlie Munger. He said something like, the worst things in the world are, envy, and then also one of them was, feeling bad for yourself. Those are two things that'll get you nowhere, right? So I just said, okay, well, I gotta fix this. Like, this is gonna either be the worst stage of my life or the best turnaround story ever. And so I made it the best turnaround story ever. I reinvented it. We liquidated everything. We vertically integrated. We focused down on two divisions. And then I was able to tell a story in an elevator at that point. Unlike before, an elevator pitch was non existent because it took me 10 minutes to explain what we were doing. I had it defined down, vertically integrated. I just made a whole new model. I got a billionaire to join us on a joint venture. I mean, I just lined it all up. And then COVID hit and all the stimulus money was sent out. And I said, okay, I've got the model, I've got the story, and everybody's got more money than they need right now. And so I went out and we raised like $40 million in like 13 months.